So starting with the foam roll on the ground, we're going to start with 2 feet in a pulsing bridge. So feet are hip width apart. The foam roll is in the back of the arch, just in front of the heel. And we're coming up and down. If at the start you'd like to come all the way down and reset to establish that tuck and core engagement prior to each pulse, you may. If you want to go right into continuous pulsing, you can do that also. Feet stay hip width apart, really working on getting as big a range of motion without coming into lumbar extension as possible. Drive the heels down as the hips come up. Feel the high hamstring initiate and the glute finish that extension. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come up and hold. We're going to go in and out just a little bit. So we're about 80% of whatever your comfortable range of motion up is. So hips are tucked, ribs and hips are connected in front, belly button to spine. We have 15 seconds here. We're rolling the arch from the back of the heel up to the ball, rolling the foam roll through the arch from the back of the heel up to the ball of foot. Going after those hamstrings. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come down. Spin the foam roll so it's now going to be the length of your spine. Chin is slightly tucked, 1 foot flat to the ground. To start, you can put the other hand on the ground as we do a dying bug. Exhaling as you get long. If that feels comfortable, bring the other hand across your ribs. So we're extending at the shoulder, pulling the shoulder blade down. We're extending at the hip, keeping the belly button pulled down. You can straighten these limbs as is appropriate to lengthen that lever and make it more difficult to control. Staying on this one side, 10 seconds. The low back is slightly in contact with the foam roll. It's not coming up as we lengthen. Chin slightly tucked. 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. So still have the foam roll. Again, low back is slightly in contact. We're not smashing it in. I'm not coming into lumbar flexion. Shoulder blades are backing down. Other side. Begin. Staying with that exhale as you get long. As the hand comes overhead, as you breathe out, you can, with the foam roll, and since there's no actual contact with the shoulder blade for most of us, see if you can feel that shoulder blade moving down towards the opposite glute. So it's coming down and back at a diagonal, keeping the shoulder open in front. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Good. Come off the foam roll. It's going to be between your knees as you're side lying. Head supported. Abs are engaged. So we're trying to get a little bit of space on this bottom side. Hips are pretty straight, and we're just doing internal rotation. So squeeze the knee into the foam roll as the outside of the ankle comes up and to the front. Tailbone stays tucked. So I'm not allowing everything to dive down. The foam roll here can be a nice indicator because the foam roll itself should stay pretty close to horizontal. If everything's diving forward, it'll tilt down in front. So outside heel, outside ankle comes forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. and switch sides. So again, head is supported all the way down, abs are up. So I've got weight in the shoulder, weight in the hip, weight through that bottom leg, and internal rotation. Knee points down, outside ankle comes forward. Hip stays where it is, staying tucked, belly button to spine, long through the low back. "15 seconds here. So you will feel this creeping to the front of the hip, but try not to let it get into the front of the true front. It's still going to be to the side at or about the seam of your shorts or pants. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. No foam roll. We're now doing a side plank on that same side and clamshell. So entire forearm is down, ribs are up and lifted, tailbone's tucked, and now we're doing external rotation. Toes open, heels stay together. Trying to keep those hips steady, get as much range of motion through that hip as you can without moving the hips, without moving the pelvis. So it's all femur movement. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch. So up into that side plank, find the fingertips, open the shoulder, pressing, getting that pressure so we're active, pressing down, triceps engaged, serratus is engaged into those obliques, and clamshell. Knee and toe both opening. Eyes are slightly down and in front of you, long through the neck. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest there. Good. Now come to hands and knees. I'm going to do this one facing you. So the foam roll is going to be outside of my left hand. I'm on hands and knees. First time through, we're going to keep both knees down. My right hand, the back of my hand is on that foam roll. My left arm stays straight, the hand that's into the ground. My right arm stays straight. And as I twist, I'm going to press into the foam roll and allow my shoulders to turn. Then come back up. So we're actively keeping both arms straight and pressing through both arms, one into the ground and one into the foam roll. The shoulders will turn, but the belly button stays pulled up to the spine. My hope is that as that hand goes across, you can feel some tension between the shoulder blades as we turn the chest and head. 3, 2, 1, and switch sides. So start hips and shoulders square, down through the hand, outside, out, and across. Keeping the planted arm straight. So you're turning your chest into the bicep of the hand that's on the ground. Keep that shoulder away from your ear. Keep your chin tucked long through the back of your neck. 20 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. We're going to go through some of those, but we're going to change them up as we go. So first one here is going to be a pulsing bridge. So this is the same as before. Foam roll, feet are about hip width apart. Foam rolls in the back of the arch. Chin stays tucked, relax through the neck. We can go shoulders and elbows or just shoulders, but make sure we're trying to feel the whole width of your shoulder blade on the ground. So nice long base there. Good. From there, we're going to come into a marching bridge. Feet stay about hip width apart, really focused on limiting rotation through the hips. If it helps to get both feet down and almost prime the glute, press. So it's more of a gradient where you're coming down into 50-50 and then slowly lifting in order to give that glute time to engage and stabilize. If you want to speed it up, that'll be a little bit harder. You can also widen it out, widen your feet out to get harder. 3, 2, 1, and we're foam rolling in and out. So getting that knee flexion, extension, controlled through the closed chain hamstring, anchored in the pelvis, belly button to spine, no lumbar extension here. Breathe out. If it helps, connect the ribs to the hips in front to protect the back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest there. Good. Back to dying bug. This time, if it's appropriate, we're going to go both hands overhead. So we're trying to pull both shoulder blades down and into the opposite back pocket while the one leg goes in and out. So knee up, foot flat. Exhale as you get long. We're all going to have a different range of motion here through the hands. If it helps to widen the hands a little bit and that helps you stay out of your neck, please do that. But see if you can almost feel those shoulder blades pulling back into the foam roll without allowing the chest to pop up. The exhale is going to help with that. Switch feet. So once you're centered, begin. Reaching the heel long, whether it's reaching the heel down to the ground or reaching the heel away and down to the ground. Nice, easy. We're sighing as we breathe out, not pursed lips. We're not forcing it, trying to whistle, blow up a balloon. So the neck stays relaxed. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest there. Good. This time we're doing internal rotation from a side plank, if that's appropriate. If it's too hard on the down knee, come back down to side lying and just make sure that we've lifted and engaged the abs on the bottom side. And begin. So here the foam roll is on my downside knee and the bottom foot. We're trying to maintain that contact so I'm still not diving forward. Tailbone's tucked. Abs are providing that. Glutes are engaged, but your glute is an external rotator, so it's going to be very difficult to rely on the glute for pelvic stability when internally rotating. 3, 2, 1. So this hopefully will really drive the emphasis into the obliques, transverse abdominis, hamstring. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Second side. Good. 15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest there. So this time as we do the thread the needle, you can add on a pointer if you'd like. So my right hand is going to start on the foam roll, my left hand on the ground. That means my left leg is in the air. So when my arm is up, my knee is in. I'm going to extend that leg as I reach across, keeping weight in the left hand. As that leg goes long, it's really tempting to kind of fall into that shoulder. Stay engaged through the hand so that we're neutral through the spine. Ten seconds. And switch sides, please. So again, the foam roll is on the outside of that hand. That's the leg in the air. When the hand is in, the knee is in. Extend if it's appropriate, but don't dive into that shoulder. Keep weight into the planted hand. Fifteen seconds. Eyes are going to follow the chest. So if your chest gets all the way over to the biceps, so do your eyes. Two, 1, and rest. Come up to your feet. Bring the foam roll with you. We're going to start with bus driver squats. So hands are on the edge of the foam roll. Elbows are inside. So I do have a little bit of pressure, but it's going to come from the pec. I'm not getting up on the outside and using my biceps. I'm not using the anterior deltoid. Palms face each other. Elbows are inside. A little bit of pressure. Squat, one hand to the top, and then the other. So we're staying in front here, staying engaged. As I reach forward, my ribs come back. We can exhale here to help reinforce that. So really sitting back into the heels. The squat range of motion is going to be kind of your choice here. If you're feeling nice and loose, you can get deeper. If you want to stay a little more shallow, you can do that as well. Good. Rest there. So now forward T, reach overhead. Overhead will mean different things to each one of us, but the goal is to keep the elbows in. As the hands come up, the shoulders stay down. I'm not blocking my ears as that shoulder comes forward. So heel back. Come back in. Might be that we're reaching down. Sometimes reaching forward in order to stay centered over the foot actually forces your hip back a little bit more, so you can really feel the hamstring and glute of the planted leg. 3, 2, 1. Back to that bus driver squat. So as we alternate, the shoulders are going to want to rotate. We can let them go just a smidgen, but the hips don't change. So I'm not shifting, you can't see that, shifting side to side. The hips are coming straight back. The femur is pulled back, the adductor is engaged, the pelvic floor is lifted, and we have a little bit of tension through the ball of that foot. Five, 4, 3, 2, forward T on the other side. So knee is long, it's not locked. Heel goes back, hands go forward, hips are horizontal. And up. Sometimes in order to get further, you might feel yourself, whether you're not intentionally opening the hip, if you're opening your toe, chances are you're opening your hip. So keep the back foot in the air, vertical. And that will help keep the open limb long. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. So here we're going to do a little bit of a single leg squat. This can be a little bit scary. Put the opposite hand on the opposite the planted foot, hand on the foam roll. You're going to press down into that foam roll, and we're sitting back into a squat. So from the front, my hip is staying right behind the heel. I'm engaged opposite, so we have some diagonal tension in order to help stay aligned. Toes are spread, 60% of the weight's in your heel in order to sit back, find that high hamstring early. Your choice on how deep you get here. The free leg is going to go back. We're not doing a pistol squat. Really keep the weight back, keep the hips back. 3, 2, 1. Good. Switch sides. So same thing. Pressure's in the hand, sit bones connected. Stand inside, pulling back. Getting into the high hamstring early is going to allow you to stay a little more open through the front of the hip. So I'm not diving or collapsing down. I'm pulling the back down to stay up and lifted in the front. "20 seconds. I'd rather we challenge the alignment and stability here rather than speed or range of motion. Keep the ball of the foot engaged, but don't let the knee follow. Once the ball of the foot's down, the hip comes back, so the knee is with that second toe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Hands behind your back. Squat. As we squat, we're going to pull back. We're opening the chest as we do this. So the shoulder blades are coming back to pull the hands back. I'm not diving forward. I'm not extending the neck. So eyes come down. Breathe out as you reach your hands back. So we're pulling the ribs back, pulling the shoulder blades back. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Rest there. Step back lunge. If it's appropriate, we're going to go around the world on that foam roll. So alternating directions. Here, step back lunge, come up. I'm going counterclockwise or clockwise first, come back up, straight into counterclockwise. So we're really emphasizing that range of motion from the plant leg hip. Spine stays long. So the hips, ribs, shoulders, eyes are all parallel to one another. Three, two, one, switch sides. And begin. Step back lunge, hips are perpendicular to the thigh, thighs align second toe, toes are spread, weights in the heel, and we're in. Ten seconds on this side. Slow and controlled. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Good. Last one, single leg balance, and we're doing kayak. If kayak's inappropriate, then put your hands in front, and we're going to do archers with the hands coming horizontal. If it is appropriate to do kayak, then we can do that as well. So the up leg knee is in front, hanging at about 90, 90, 90. Hips are level. Begin. Reaching forward as you come back. So I'm not, the emphasis isn't on pulling behind you. We're going to try and keep that spine neutral and tall. Think string out the crown of your head. If it's easy and you want to turn your head with your chest, you may. Make sure as that hand comes back, it's coming from the shoulder blade. Still with a little bit of pressure through that foam roll. 3, 2, 1. And switch. Other foot planted. Begin. So by letting the shoulder come forward, that will ensure that when we're back, I'm not leaning back. Shoulders are still horizontal when you're most turned. "20 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Good. Come down to the ground, please. Single leg bridge. If single leg isn't appropriate at this point, go 80-20 or 60-40, whatever ratio is appropriate. But just make sure that we're really emphasizing the one side. Tuck tailbone, lift hips, begin. If you'd like to pulse here, you may. Just keep the hips horizontal. If you are pulsing, keep an eye on your knee and peripheral vision and make sure that the knee's coming up and back. So it's going to end up almost over your chest or sternum so that we're extending the hips. We're not lifting the hips. 15 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Switch sides. Starting in 2. And begin. Sit bones stay connected even though one leg is up. So the hips are inside of the shoulders. Feet started hip width apart. So I'm lined up between my hip, knee, and foot. And that line is going to be just inside my shoulder, about halfway between sternum and shoulder, maybe a little outside of that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. This one got rave reviews last time we did it. So we're going to be face down, abs engaged and lifted, hands on the foam roll. As you breathe out, you're going to lift the foam roll up off the ground without extending the back for the length of one exhale, then come back down. Lower body's relaxed. You will feel your back working, but we're not moving into extension. Good. 1 breath per rep here. Forehead's into the ground, but the neck is relaxed. I'm not smashing it into the ground. One more, please. Good. And rest there. Come onto your back. Both knees up, shins horizontal. Foam roll is going to start resting on your knees. Your hands are on it as you breathe out. We're going to slide down your feet. If you can get over your feet and come back, we're going to do that each rep. If you cannot, breathe out. Come to the top of your feet. Come back down. So it's, again, 1 breath per rep. The goal is not to get the foam roll over your feet by bringing your knees up. It's by bringing your shoulders up. 3, 2, 1. Good. Side plank, leg up. So forearm down, leg is up and pulsing if you'd like, static if that's appropriate. If you want to go from feet and leg up, you can do that also. "30 seconds left on this side. Eyes long, neck relaxed. "15 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And switch. Coming up in 3, 2, and begin. Making sure that we're keeping that top foot horizontal. Don't allow the toe to turn up. Weight and the work behind the seam of your shorts, especially on the bottom side for the second. "15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on up to your feet. If you have water and want to grab a quick sip, you may. Good. So we're going to go through some of those movements we did before. Some will be the same, some are going to be different. First one here is going to be a chair squat. So we're coming up overhead with the weight, with the foam roll as we go down into the squat. Breathe out as the hands come up. Breathing out so that we can pull the ribs back. I'm not arching my back to extend the shoulders. Oops, sorry. Three, two, one. Good. Forward T. This time we're going to do that bus driver element as you forward T. So hips stay level, shoulders stay level, forward T, one hand down, one hand up, back, come through. So every time we're coming upright, the foam roll is horizontal. When we get into that forward T, the challenge is going to be to get it vertical without allowing the hips or shoulders or spine to rotate. It might be that we're reaching down as we rotate in order to stay out of the back or the neck. Good. Back to chair squat, begin. Weight stays 50-50, tracking over so the center of gravity should not change in your feet. 60% heels, toes are spread, as the other 40%'s kind of across the ball of foot and base of fourth toe. 10 seconds. Two, one. Forward T's on the other foot, please. Begin. Again, the knee is long but not locked. Ten seconds. Three, two, one. Good. Single leg squat. So planted foot, opposite hand is on the foam roll, hand forward, leg back as we squat. So from the side, the foam roll is just in front of the toes. Coming down and back, up through the heel. Bring the knee all the way through at the top so we're getting full extension at the hip. We're long through the spine. With the leg going back, it's going to force your center of gravity backwards. It's going to make it very difficult to get as deep as you might in a pistol squat. I try to keep that hip to the inside. If we get too far, what happens is we're going to kind of swing to the outside and work our way back up. It's brutal on the knee and it's brutal on the low back. So stay right behind the heel. 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. Begin. Trying to keep that back leg off the ground. If you can't get deeper without that foot swinging, then that's where we stop. It's probably going to be a different point for each one of us. "15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and rest there. Good. Around the world with the lunge. So switching feet, back, in, up. If we can do it straight into that lunge, please do. So really slow and controlled. Time under load here. Trying to get enough control that we could stop at any point of that lunge. Five seconds. Eyes are coming over. So we're maintaining the parallel eyes, shoulders, hips. And switch. Other side starts in 2, 1, begin. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Last one. Back to the lunge. We're going to go to the opposite foot. No foam roll engaged. This time we are going to go a little bit quicker if it's appropriate, coming up to toes, or we can even jump a little bit. Just make sure that no matter what we do, we're landing quietly, getting back into the heel quickly and back into the hip quickly. Don't allow the front of the knee to take the brunt of this. So find that heel, drive from the heel. Try to get into that high hamstring quickly. If it helps to put your hand onto it, so you have that tactile feedback, please do. 15 seconds. You will feel quad here, but we're trying to get that hamstring and glute at speed to take up some of that load. 3, 2, 1, and switch sides. Begin. It might be that we're coming up to toes. It might be that the foam roll is helpful in order to get that full range up at the top. Emphasis on high hamstring. We're staying open in the front of the hip. 30 seconds. Pace yourself with what's appropriate here. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest, come back down to the ground. All right. Foam roll in hands, 2 knees up. 2 hands go overhead, 1 leg goes down. maintaining a little bit of pressure in that foam roll. So we're focused on the shoulder mechanics here, and especially as they relate to the ribs. If you're having trouble controlling the hips or the low back, shorten that leg. Really trying to emphasize the ribs and shoulder blade as the hand comes overhead here. Five, 4, 3, 2. Quick bridge, other side, starting in 2, 1, begin. Belly button to spine, pelvic floor engaged. See if you can feel your shoulder blade almost coming up as it gets down to the bottom of that range. We're pulling the shoulder blade up as the ribs come back. The serratus is trying to bring both edges towards the center. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest, single leg bridge. If it's not single leg, we're still emphasizing the one leg. Static or pulsing, your choice. Just make sure that we're keeping ribs and hips connected in front with the belly button pulled to spine. Similar to the high hamstring on that lunge to toes or jumping lunge. If you want to just leave your hands there as an extra set of eyes, giving you that feedback. Hips are coming up and back. The low back stays long. Coming up and over to your shoulders, I should say. 3, 2, 1. Good. Other side. Starting in 3. Up. And begin. Even if your hands if we're using them as a second set of eyes for ribs and hips, make sure that it doesn't give you an excuse to roll those shoulder blades forward and pull them up off the ground. "20 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. We're going to end with the prone plank. High plank, so from hands, if your wrists and if it's appropriate. And we can go feet on the foam roll or feet on the ground or knees on the ground. Begin. If your feet are on that foam roll, you can kind of come in and out a little without allowing, so there's no hip movement, no spine movement. The shorter you start, the further we can challenge the stability. 20 seconds. Don't extend the back as you extend the hip if you're rolling in and out. 3, 2, 1, and rest. And rest. You are done. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully have a good evening.